Hey everyone, it's Like a Hero. Today we're going to go over two builds in one video, a 2-for-1 for you guys. Now, I usually am streaming over at Twitch TV/Like a Hero. I'm not going to have gameplay here. I'm just going to have the two builds that I use that you can use to just really get going in the raid. Now, if you have more questions or anything like that, you can leave them in the comments. You can subscribe and just be notified when I upload more videos. And of course, swing by Twitch TV/Like a Hero and ask me, and we can discuss there more in depth about the build. And you could actually see me using these because these are the two builds that I use. But without further ado, guys, let's get right into those builds. So the first one is a AR headshot build. Now it does have the Eagle Bearer. If you do not have the Eagle Bearer, then I suggest a P416. You can go with either Ranger or Strained on there, depending on your crit and your crit damage. Yeah, even possibly just do a Black Market AKM there with Ranger, as you see. Eagle Bearer, of course, if you don't have it, just go for a P416. Now on my mask, I have the One Piece Murakami for the health. Because this is a Berserk build, you're going to want to have a decent amount of health. I would say anywhere between 100,000 to like 150,000. You could go more, of course, if that's makes you feel more comfortable with that, but for now, that's what you have here. On mine, I have a Murakami with the One Piece, which is 8% health again, and it rolled with a blue health. And I think this, I don't know what this was before, but I was able to put, because it was a red attribute, I was able to put my 42% damage to elites roll on there. It has hard hitting as well. Okay, so now I only use the One Piece because I just want the 8% health bonus there. On my backpack, and you'll see on my backpack I have Heraldi, and that's because of the two piece. This is a headshot build, so this is going to help you while you're killing NPCs, if you're using an AR. If you don't, let's say you don't have a sniper build and you're going to use the AR on Boomer, on whatever. Ideally, you want to be using the SVD build, sniping build on those fights. But if not, the headshot's still going to help you with ads. It's going to help you with the big boys on Razorback. So 2-piece Heraldi. Now, this Heraldi backpack rolled with a blue health roll, so 27,000 health. I was able to put 11% weapon damage. Okay, these rolls could be a little higher. This could be more weapon damage I'm missing here. But again, the 2-piece gives me that accuracy in the headshot. And then I have hard hitting here. Now, the reason you have, you're going to see that I have a mod slot on all these offensive mod slots. Because the more mod slots you have, the more damage you're going to do. Okay, you're going to be able to put more AR damage on there. More like, a 5% AR damage, 1% to health, and 1% weapon damage, right? So that's what you're going to shoot for. Now on my chest piece, I have a health roll, a weapon damage 13.5%, and a 9.5% weapon damage. I mean headshot damage. Sorry. Now this is a Berserk, so again, Berserk gives you 10% weapon damage for every 20% of it you're missing. So that's again why you want to have a lot of health rolls. I would say 4 blue health rolls is what you want ideally, and the rest to be offensive, to be red rolls. Okay, now you're going to want that health because you're going to be running with little to no armor throughout most of these fights. Ideally, right, to be the most optimal, just have to time your defender drone, which I'll go over a little bit more later. Sorry. So again, now the other thing about this Fenris chest piece is that it rolled with hardened. Now instead of putting hard hitting here and leaving the low, I think this was crit damage here, I went with the weapon damage instead of rolling that because I felt that was more beneficial for the build as a whole. Ideally, everything about this chest piece would be the same, except right here, this hardened would be hard hitting. And then that would be like a perfect rolled Fenris again. But it is a division and it is RNG on RNG. So I'm still, to this day, I have so many runs in there, like 150 runs in the raid, and I still have not gotten a Fenris to drops, right? But now the offensive mod slot, again, that's why you want the Stridvast. The offensive mod slot does give me more opportunity to put here 4% assault rifle, 1% damage to armor, and a 1.5%. The gloves here are climbing gloves, and they have 10% assault rifle damage and precise here for the 15% headshot. Now, the offensive mod slot means I could stick another 4% assault rifle damage and 1% weapon damage. Now, these are not the best mods. I'm still doing the mod routes. I'm still grinding for mods. You get the idea. You want to have mod slots. You want to have slots in your build. On the holster, again, the holster gives me that 2-piece headshot damage. That 2-piece 10% headshot damage. I have a health roll, precise here, and the another offensive onslaught. So this is 5% assault rifle damage and 1% weapon damage. On my knees, I have 8.5 crit hit chance. That goes well with the Eagle's built-in crit and crit damage. And then I have 7%. Now, if you feel more, if you want to have more health than this, then I suggest going with something like a Hilligard, because you can roll it with health, and then you could stick 2 defensive onslaughts. So you see here, I have well over, I mean, this would be about like 40,000 health on here, right? This would put me with this, it would put me about 170k here on the health. But again, I feel like 130 is a good spot to sit at, so I'd rather go for the crit, get a little more damage, get a little more crit hit damage on there. And with the offensive onslaught, again, that's more AR damage, more weapon damage. So that is the build. The other thing that's very important for this, because you are running Berserk, is to have a sidearm here. It doesn't matter what sidearm, it could be a handgun, a pistol, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have in rhythm there, because the 5% chance to refresh your active cooldowns is very important. Now, one thing that with the recent changes is that if you are a sharpshooter and you are spec'd, you have an incredible amount of duration for the defender drone, right? And you also have, if you just stick another, you have good skill haste. Now this is just like built in with the sharpshooter spec. So make sure you're going sharpshooter, make sure you're putting those points in the defender drone, okay? And then I run it with Revive Hive. So that's the build, guys, pretty much right there. You can do any content, every single thing in this game you can do with a build like this. Again, the defender's trance, instead of that hardened, you want hard hitting there, but still just overall idea, guys. Everything in the game you can do with this. This is my everyday go-to build. And now we're going to switch over and go with the SVD builds. Like I said, we're just going to go 2 quick videos, so you guys don't have to search around for other videos. You kind of see what I use for the raid and pretty much the entire game here. So this is my SVD build now that we're switching over to. Now the SVD build revolves around marksman damage. So you're going to see a lot of the mods here are marksman damage. Now, let's go over the weapon here. The SVD build revolves around the SVD. I have 2k damage on. That changes because of my weapon damage, because of my marksman rifle damage. I have a damage to elite scope here because of the 25% bonus that you get from having the Nemesis holstered. So you're going to want to have something like that. You could possibly go with like a digital scope for 45% headshot, but then you have to, then your aiming and tracking might not be as great. If it is, then go for it, right? It's just going to be that much stronger with headshot damage, right? So you have that. I have the +5 rounds here for the mag, and then I have a stability, and I have damage shield. The talents that I'm using for the SVD build here are Ranger, and I mean, I have these other ones, but it's pretty much just Ranger. Now you could go for Ranger, Jazz Hands, that would be really good. Maybe Protect to Reload. Ranger and Jazz Hands would be ideal here. Again, it's because this was a higher rolled SVD than my previous one, so this is why I'm using it. Now you could change this up. You could, instead of going Ranger here, you could go for the Naked talent, which I'll show you really quickly here. The Naked talent, or maybe I won't. The Naked talent is in your damage. Headshot damage is increased by 50% when your armor is depleted. However, that means at the beginning of engagements, you either have to grenade yourself, and then you have no armor, right? So then you have 50% more headshot damage. But I just don't have the armor on this build to survive nading myself, right? So it's more consistent just to roll with Ranger. But again, that's another option for you. Now, if you do go with Naked, that means you're going to have to use you're either going to have to use the digital scope, or you're going to have to use a 12 times or higher, or 8 times or higher. So you're going to have to go with this one, or perhaps I would just use the digital scope. It's just better. Okay, so that is that, guys. Now, again, because the what I have on the mask here is the same one that I use the other one, the One Piece Murakami mask. Super good mask to get for overall for all your builds here. So it has 1%. It has 8% health and 11,000 health on it, with the 42% damage to elites with hard hitting. Now the build itself here is a 3-piece heraldry, because even though this is an SVD build, what I mainly use this for most of the time is to land Nemesis shots. So I do have the Nemesis on here. The Nemesis here, I have it at 582,000 damage. Again, this number changes depending on your marksman damage. So you might have it higher, you might have it lower. That just depends on the rolls of your gear, the weapon damage, and all that. So let's go to this 3-piece Heraldry. Now, the reason I have a 3-piece Heraldry is because the 3-piece bonus gives you 10% marksman rifle damage. Benefit from the 2-piece and the 3-piece. Backpack, again, it's health and 11% weapon damage. You're going to notice that this is the same backpack that I use for my AR build. So with that, you're able to kind of mix and match because headshot damage is really good in this game. Now, I do have the marksman damage mod here with weapon damage. That's what you're going to want your mods to be. Now I have the gloves. I have the 10% marksman damage on the Heraldry gloves with precise rolled. Well, now on my holster, what I noticed here after doing some tests on the shooting range is that having hard hitting here on my holster actually increased my damage by quite a bit more, about like 200,000-300,000 more than having precise. Now I would assume that's because hard hitting is multiplicative and precise is not, since the changes to headshot how it works, but I put hard hitting and go with hard hitting here on your holster. So I have 36,000 health and hard hitting on there with the mod slot here. Now this is a very good mod here. 6% marksman rifle damage, damage to health, and weapon damage. So these are the things that you're going to want on these builds. You're going to want this mod basically everywhere on all. You're going to see again with this build, I have 2 on the chest, 3, 4, 5 mod slots, and which is really good because ideally, right, if you have 5 mod slots on each of those, you're looking at 25% more weapon damage or 20% more marksman rifle damage, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Now on my chest piece, now this was very difficult to get, right? But on your chest piece, you're going to want a 511. The reason you're going to want a 511, not because of the 1-piece protection for enemies, because that's pretty much useless, but it's because of the chance that you get 3 attributes here, and you get 2 offensive mod slots. Remember, offensive mod slots are the name of the game here. So ideally, this would have been a lower crit hit chance. That way I could have got more weapon damage, but crit hit damage, you know, it's all right. It's not bad. It's not great, right? It's you know, it's not that great, but you know, whatever. We got the 21% headshot damage and we got the 10% weapon damage. Now again, headshot damage is great because that's what you're doing with the Nemesis. You're charging shots and you're getting a lot of damage here. Now hard hitting is great. This is what you want on the 511 chest piece. You want that hard hitting. And then for your mod slots, you're just going to want marksman rifle damage, like 6% here. But another good one to get is to go with like damage to health and weapon damage. Okay, but that's what you're going to want to get. Ideally, you'd have like 5% marksman rifle damage, 1% damage, and weapon damage, right? Now on the knees, I have a Wyvern, which is the same one that I had for my other one, and it has 8.5 crit hit chance, hard hitting, and the offensive mod slot with 5% marksman rifle damage. So that is the builds right there. Now for this, I do use the Defender drone. You can switch it if you want, but I use the Defender drone a lot of times when I'm doing the runs. I'm doing the laptops in a situation, so like I need that to help the team out where we're. But you go with Revive Hive and Defender drone. You can go with however you feel more comfortable, right? And the Revive Hive, of course, when it works, it's beautiful, right? So that is the build. Again, you're going to see on the sidearm that I do have in rhythm as well because it's very important. Now let's go over the stats really quick. On this build, now again, this is all depending on RNG and things like that. I have 210 headshot damage, and that's actually on the other one. So I'm going to go switch to my Nemesis because that's pretty much what you're using. 8.5 crit hit chance, 52 crit hit damage, 228 headshot damage bonus. I have 27% all weapon damage bonus, 58 marksman rifle damage bonus, and 107 damage to elites. So this is the build, and these 2 builds right here, guys, the SVD build and the AR headshot build, are the only builds you need pretty much. After that, you can start working on like attack 50 crit build if you're trying to 2-phase Razorback. You can work on a more bleed build focused with under like two-phase boomer, things like that. But to get into the raid and just to be consistent and make it easy on yourself, an AR headshot build like I showed you, Svd Build are pretty much all you. Now, as far as what I use during the fights, I use the headshot build, the AR headshot build for the beginning of the raid, the tarmac. I switch to the and depending on who's doing the boomer raid, I'll use this for the first fight. I'll use this for boomer. For Weasel, I switched to the Svd build, and right, everyone should be using a Nemesis Sniper Build for Weasel, just going to make it easier on you. Buddy and Lucy, that's where you use this build. Everyone could get an SVD, and everyone's just using their SVDs on Buddy and Lucy at the same time. Then when it comes to do Razorback, I just switch back over to my AR headshot build and use that. I mean, you could be more optimal, right? And later on, like I said, you could get a more crit focus build, AR crit build for the weak points, right? If you're trying to do a lot of damage on the weak points. But really, these are the two builds that you need, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Again, if you want a more in-depth explanation, or you just want to see these builds in action, swing by my channel over at Twitch TV/LikeAHero. And make sure, if you like the video, drop a like, guys. And all your support really means a lot, and it's really helpful here as we try to grow my channel over on Twitch and here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys later. I just want to apologize for my audio cutting in and out through this video. Something wrong with my mic, and I'm in the process of fixing it, but I will check you guys out later.